You checked your account again today. You didn't need to. You knew what was there. You knew what wasn't. But you checked anyway, the way a tongue keeps returning to a sore tooth. And in that moment, something in you whispered the oldest accusation you know. It said, maybe God has forgotten you. Maybe everyone else got the blessing, and you got the waiting room. Maybe the silence over your finances is the sound of a door being closed. I want to speak to that place in you tonight. The place that is tired, the place that is ashamed, the place that has started to wonder if your faith was ever real. Because if it were real, surely the lights wouldn't flicker, surely the messages from people you owe wouldn't make your chest tighten, surely it wouldn't be this hard. You are not lazy. I want you to hear that first. You have worked. You have prayed. You have given when you had little. You have shown up to a life that keeps asking more of you than it returns. And still your wallet is thin. Still the month is longer than the money. So you are asking the question. You're asking God, why? Why them and not me? Why now? Why still? But here is the thing I need you to sit with tonight. That is not the real question. The real question is not why is my wallet empty? The real question is, what is God protecting me from, preparing me for, and positioning me toward in a season that looks like nothing but lack? Because an empty wallet is a fact. But God's rejection, that is a story. And someone planted that story in you. And tonight in this quiet room, we are going to dig it up by the roots. Why your empty wallet is not God's rejection. Stay with me. Every word of this is for you. Let me tell you something that will sound strange at first. Lack is not always punishment. Sometimes lack is a location. It is a place God puts his chosen ones on purpose for a season. Not because he is angry with them, but because there is something he can only build in them there. You have read the stories, but you have read them as history. Tonight I need you to read them as a mirror. Think of Joseph, a chosen one if there ever was one. Dreams in his spirit since he was a boy. Favor of God on his life, unmistakable. And where did that favor lead him? To a pit, to a slave market, to a prison cell for a crime he did not commit. For 13 years, Joseph had nothing. No status, no freedom, no account, no name, no proof. If Joseph had checked his wallet in that prison, it would have been empty too. But here is what you must understand. The prison was not God rejecting Joseph. The prison was God hiding Joseph, the same way you hide something valuable before you reveal it. The pit, the betrayal, the long delay, that was not the end of Joseph's story. That was the workshop where his character was made strong enough to survive his promotion. Because here is a truth the world will never teach you. God will not give you an abundance your character cannot carry. He loves you too much to bless you into destruction. So sometimes the delay in your finances is not him withholding. It is him building the man, building the woman, who can hold the weight of what is coming without being crushed by it. Think of David, anointed king as a boy, oil poured over his head by the prophet, chosen, and then sent right back to the fields to keep watching sheep, and after that hunted, living in caves, hiding in the wilderness, surviving on almost nothing, while the throne that had his name on it sat occupied by another man for years. David in that cave had no kingdom, no salary, no security. But David in that cave was learning the one thing a king must know, how to trust God when there is nothing in your hand but a promise. The cave was not rejection. The cave was the classroom. Think of the widow at Zarephath. When Elijah found her, she was gathering sticks to cook one final meal for herself and her son before they died of hunger. That is real lack. That is the bottom. And yet, that is exactly the house God sent his prophet to, not the wealthy house, the empty house, because God specializes in doing the impossible in the place where there is nothing left. And think of your Lord himself. Before Jesus did a single miracle, before he fed a single crowd, he was led by the Spirit of God into the wilderness, into a place of nothing. 40 days with no provision, no comfort, no relief. The wilderness was not a sign that the Father had abandoned the Son. The wilderness was the proving ground before the power. So hear me. If you are a chosen one, and you are in a season of lack right now, you are standing exactly where Joseph stood, where David stood, where the widow stood, where Jesus stood. You are not the exception to the chosen life. You are walking the well-worn path of it. Your empty wallet is not God closing the door. It is God closing the others, the lesser ones, the ones that would have led you off your purpose, so that you only walk through the one that was his. Now I have to name something, because what is hurting you is not only the lack, it is what you have come to believe about yourself because of it. There is a lie that has been planted in your mind, and it has grown so quietly for so long that you no longer hear it as a lie. You hear it as simply the truth about you. The lie says this: my bank account is the measure of my worth. The lie says if I had value, I would have more. If God truly favored me, the favor would be visible, and it would be visible in money. That lie did not come from God. It came from a world that prices everything and a spirit that has been accusing God's people since the garden. The enemy cannot stop you from being chosen. So instead, he works to make you feel disqualified. He whispers over your empty wallet, "See, this is the proof. This is the evidence that you were never really called," and you believed him, quietly. You started to carry your finances like a verdict on your soul. But what if the opposite is true? What if your worth was never something you could earn, deposit, or lose? What if your value was set permanently on the day God formed you and called you his own, and no balance, no overdraft, no hard month has the power to lower it by a single cent? The scripture does not say your worth is your wealth. It says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. It says before you were in the womb, you were known. It says the very hairs of your head are numbered by a Father who watches you with care. That is your true account. And it is not empty. It has never been empty. It is full, and it cannot be touched by the economy, by the layoff, by the bill you cannot pay. You believe that your lack meant you were less. But the truth is that your lack is a test of what you believe about a God who has already said you are his. And hear this. There is another lie hiding inside the first one. It says God's blessing always looks like money. So when you don't see money, you assume you don't see blessing. But look again at your own life. You are still standing. After everything, you are still here. Your mind is still sound enough to seek him tonight. There is breath in your body, and there is hunger in your spirit for something more. And that hunger itself is a gift, because dead things do not hunger. You have been protected from things you will never even know you were spared. That is blessing. Quiet, unbankable, invisible blessing. You have been receiving it the whole time. Why your empty wallet is not God's rejection, because rejection cuts you off, and you have not been cut off. You have been carried. Now, before I tell you what to do, I have to tell you what you must know, because action without understanding will not survive a long season. There are 3 spiritual realities you must accept. If you do not, you will quit one chapter before the breakthrough. The first thing you must know is this: delay is not denial. The world has trained you to read slowness as a no. If it has not happened yet, you assume it is not going to happen. But God does not operate on the clock of your anxiety. He operates on the calendar of your readiness and his purpose. Joseph waited 13 years. The promise to Abraham took 25. A delay in the hand of God is not a closed door. It is an oven. It is the slow heat that finishes what was started in you. What feels like God ignoring you is very often God preparing you. The harvest is not late. The harvest is being grown, and you cannot rush a harvest without ruining it. You must know this, or you will quit before your breakthrough. The second thing you must know is this: your provision is not tied to your visibility. You feel invisible, overlooked. You watch others get noticed, get hired, get chosen, get paid, and you wonder if anyone sees what you carry. But hear me carefully. The God who provides for you does not need a crowd to find you. He fed Elijah by a hidden brook with no audience. He fed the widow in a house no one important would have visited. He sees you in the small apartment. He sees you on the late shift. He sees you when no human being is clapping. Your breakthrough is not waiting on a platform. It is not waiting for you to become impressive. It is waiting on the timing of a Father who already knows your address. You must know this, or you will quit before your breakthrough. The third thing you must know is this: the season of lack has an assignment, and when the assignment is complete, the season will end. This is not forever. I need you to hear that against the lie that says it is. Lack is a season, and seasons by their nature change. The winter you are in is doing a specific work. It is teaching you to trust. It is purifying your motives. It is separating you from dependence on the wrong things and the wrong people. When that work is finished, the season lifts. It always does. Winter has never once refused to give way to spring. So do not despise this season. Do not curse the very classroom that is graduating you. Ask instead, "What are you teaching me here, Lord, that I could not have learned anywhere else?" You must know this, or you will quit before your breakthrough. Why your empty wallet is not God's rejection. Because rejection has no purpose in it. And your season is full of purpose, even when your hands feel empty. Now, knowing is not enough. You must do. Faith that does not move its feet is not faith. It is only wishing dressed in religious words. So here are 3 things you must do. Not vague things, real things. Things you can begin tonight and repeat tomorrow. The first thing you must do is this: stop speaking poverty over your own life. Listen to yourself for one day. Listen to the words that fall out of you without thinking. I can't afford anything. I'm always broke. Nothing ever works out for me. Money just slips through my hands. You have been preaching a sermon over your life, and it has been a sermon of defeat. And your spirit has been sitting in the front row, taking notes, believing every word. Your words are not just sounds, they are seeds. They are the script your inner life rehearses and then performs. So you must change the script. Here is the daily discipline. Each morning, before the worry can speak first, you speak first. Out loud. Say, I am a child of the Most High God. My Father owns everything. He knows what I need before I ask. I am not abandoned. I am being prepared. Provision is on its way to me because the God I serve is faithful. Say it even when you do not feel it, especially when you do not feel it. You are not lying. You are agreeing with heaven instead of agreeing with fear. And the heart posture underneath it must be this: gratitude. Before you ask Him for more, thank Him for what you can already see. The roof, the breath, the mercy of this very day. A grateful heart cannot stay a poor heart for long, because gratitude is the soil that blessing grows in. The second thing you must do is this: plant a hidden seed. I know how this sounds when your wallet is thin, but hear me. The widow at Zarephath had one meal left, and the prophet asked her to give from it first. And it was the giving from her lack, that opened the door to a supply that did not run dry. There is a kind of provision that will not come to a clenched hand. It comes to an open one. This is not about large amounts. It is about breaking the grip of fear over what you have. So here is the discipline. This week, give something, quietly, with no audience and no announcement. It can be small. Give money if you have it. Give your time, your skill, your help, your presence to someone with less than you, and there is always someone with less than you. Plant it where no one sees, so that only God is in the room when the seed goes into the ground. The heart posture here is trust. When you give from your lack, you are making a declaration with your hands. You are saying, my supply is not this account, my supply is God, and I am not afraid because the one I am giving to has never failed to bring the harvest in. The third thing you must do is this: change your inner script from survival to assignment. When all you can see is lack, your whole inner life shrinks down to one word: survive. Get through today. Cover this bill. Make it to the next paycheck. And survival is exhausting because survival has no horizon. It cannot see past the end of the week. But you were not created merely to survive. You were created for an assignment, so you must lift your eyes off the wallet and back onto the calling. Here is the discipline. Each day do one thing, one that serves your God-given purpose regardless of whether it pays you yet. Write the page, learn the skill, make the call, build the thing He put in your spirit, develop the gift. Tend the assignment as if the provision were already certain, because in the economy of God, faithful preparation always comes before the open door. Joseph ran the prison well before he ran the palace. He did the small assignment with excellence, and that excellence is what God promoted. The heart posture here is faithfulness. Be faithful with the little, in the dark before the reward, because the question heaven is asking over your season is not how much do you have. It is, can you be trusted? Can you be trusted with a little so that you can be trusted with much? Speak life. Plant a hidden seed. Live from assignment, not survival. Small disciplines, repeated daily. This is how a chosen one walks through a season of lack without being destroyed by it. So let me tell you what is going to happen. When you begin to obey these things, when you stop cursing your life with your mouth, when you give from your lack with an open hand, when you serve your calling before it pays you, something is going to shift. And I want to be honest with you. The way a father is honest. The first shift may not be money. Do not measure this by your account on Friday. The first shift will be in the atmosphere. The fear that used to sit on your chest in the morning, it will begin to lift. The shame you carried into every conversation about money, it will begin to loosen its grip. You will find a strange quiet steadiness coming over you, a peace that does not match your circumstances and therefore cannot have come from your circumstances. It came from above. That peace is the first fruit. That peace is the evidence that the season is turning. And then, in His timing, not the timing of your panic, provision will begin to move towards you. It may come through a door you are not even looking at. The unexpected opportunity. The favor in the room where you had no connections. The idea that drops into your spirit in the shower. The person who remembers your name at exactly the right moment. God has 1,000 ways to provide, and you have only been watching one of them. Here is the picture I want you to carry out of this room tonight. There is a door. You cannot see it yet. It is in a wall you have walked past 100 times without noticing, and behind that door is everything this season has been preparing you to receive. And right now, even now as you hear these words, that door is beginning to groan on its hinges. The hand of God is on it. It has not opened yet, but it has started to move. Do not quit standing in the hallway. The sound you are hearing is not the silence of rejection. It is the slow, certain sound of a door being opened by a God who never not once walked away from you. So let me pray over you now, wherever you are. Whatever the number in that account, Father, you see this one. You see them tonight. You see the tiredness they have hidden from everyone else. You see the shame they carry into rooms and pretend not to feel. You see the empty wallet and you see the fear behind it, the fear that whispers they have been rejected by you. Lord, I ask you to come into that exact fear right now. Drive it out. Replace it with the truth. Let them know, deep in the bone, that lack is not your verdict over their life, that they are hidden, not forgotten, prepared, not rejected, loved completely and without condition. Provide for them, Father, not one day late. Open the doors that have their name on them. Multiply the little in their hands. And until that day comes, give them a peace that the bank cannot give and the lack cannot take. Steady them in the waiting. Strengthen them for the assignment. And let them rise out of this season carrying everything it was meant to build in them. In the name of Jesus, amen. Now hear this last word, and let it be the thing you fall asleep on tonight. You are chosen, not because you are perfect, but because He is faithful.